What's he been up to now? So stay tuned and all will be revealed. Good afternoon and welcome to Piccadilly Eastway. Now you can see there I've got the Azuma train and it's got two Lumo coaches in the rake. Now, two things here. First of all, I wanted to see how long a train I could actually fit on the Traverser, but also will it go up the incline with two extra coaches, being 7 in total. Now, I do have a bit of a problem. Well, as you can see there, the Azuma is ever so slightly too long for the Traverser, probably just over an inch. Now, my plan is to remake the buffers that I put in at the far end and just make them a lot shorter. So hopefully that should work. Right, so let's set off then up the incline. Now, all starts off very nicely. I lined up the tracks on the Traverser, so that's got to be a good thing. And the train didn't derail there, which sometimes I get wrong. But anyway, sorry the camera does drift off a little bit, so you end up looking at bits of papier-mâché and all sorts, but there's the train. And so we're following it round. There it is. Now, hopefully, you can see it is now starting to struggle a little bit. Yeah. And the wheels are spinning on the power car where the motor is. And obviously that's around the corner, a little bit nearer the APT line. So, I thought I'll just give it a little nudge, a little bit further up. And we come to yet another grinding halt. So, I'm starting to think this is going to be a non-starter having 7 coaches. Okay, right, I'll be honest, that didn't go quite as well as I would hope it would, and we really struggled. So I've brought the train up and I've decided to do some different things. So what you're seeing here is the revised version. It came up with 1 coach. So when I had just the 1 Lumo coach in there, it worked, no problems. But I hadn't oiled the wheels, and that was one of the big things, and purely because I forgot. So I have oiled the wheels now, and you may also notice that I've put in the railroad coach that I got last week, or whenever it was. So that has also had the wheels oiled, and all that's had the wheels oiled. Now the power car is down there. So the train is in push mode at the moment. So let's see if, one, it will actually just go round the track as it is, and then we'll take it down to the Fiddle yard and then try and bring it back up and see if it has any issues. Okay, the Azuma is back in the Fiddle yard now, so I'm going to take it up. I'll film it from when it gets to about here, because to be honest with you, this is where the issues were being caused, so there's no point in filming down the bottom bit. Right, there we go. I'll give it a little bit more speed. That is looking promising. It's done it. It's only done it. Look at that. Fantastic. So as you can see, I went and got another railroad Azuma coach, because obviously I couldn't run it with the Lumo. So the idea is to upgrade these. Now I've started doing the other coach by looking at the windows, so I'll show you the process I've gone through in just a second, and then we'll see if we can get them looking fairly similar to the full fat versions. Okay then, so if you are in the market for having a go at upgrading your own railroad Azuma coaches, or the GWR obviously, there are 4 screws. So there's one there, and obviously the two in the middle there and another one just in there. Okay, the full fat versions don't have screws holding the body on, they literally just unclip and come off. Right, so you can see now I've got the glazing out of the railroad coaches, and there it is, and you can see it's in there. Now that did come out fairly easily. It's not glued in many places. You can see the white dots on there where the gluing points are, and it was literally just a case of just pushing gently on the glazing and at times just running a scalpel just down the edge just to release it, and it came away. Well, I'd have it out within a couple of minutes. And then the idea would be, I don't know whether you can see those three there, this is a transparent black sheet. They come in varying colours and they're often used for dyslexic aids, and that is a slightly thicker piece, and then there's a bigger piece. Now I can't make that thickness by cutting it on the Cricut machine in one go, because it is just a little bit too thick and I think it would just take forever. But not only that, that is translucent enough to be able to shine a light through. If I just bring you up to the window, you can hopefully see, there you go, you can see it, light does come through it, which hopefully will be similar to what's in the actual coaches. Now there's no guarantee they're going to be exactly the same as the regular coach, but you know, you can only do what you can do, can't you? So that's, I haven't measured it, but I'm guessing about 0.3 of mil. This one is a little bit thicker. It's not a mil thick, but it's certainly on the way to it. So when I put those two together, it does come out reasonably close to the surface. I think that will be acceptable once that window's been cleaned up. They're on their second pass now. That piece is glued to that piece, and that's what all those are. So any white clouding is the glue and glaze. And then there is a bigger piece which acts as a backstop, if you like. So I can put the window in, and I've got like a rim to put a spot of glue on there, and then it's got somewhere to hold the glue. So it should be absolutely fine. Hopefully you can see that. They're not perfect by any means, and some of the windows are a little bit on the streaky side. There's the other ones. So again, some of them are a bit streaky, but once I've got the interior in there and the lights, are you going to notice it anyway? I don't know. Time will tell, I suppose. I was thinking of using some of that Revel glue that comes in a blue pot with a yellow sort of needle coming out the end, but I just can't find it. Super glue is obviously not going to work because it tends to cloud the acetate. So I'd like to see if I can find that glue and give it a go. If I do, I'll let you know. But anyway, obviously on this one, I've obviously got to do the 2 or the 4 door windows, which have not been done yet. But, you know, it's not too bad, is it? Right, welcome back. So you can see now I've got these pieces of card in for this like secret tunnel which is going to run underneath the warehouse. And as I said, the warehouse is going to go here. Now that section there, I probably will just build it and glue it in, whereas this whole section will lift off, maybe in a couple of pieces, not sure at the moment. Now, what am I going to do for that? Well, a scale scenes kit does seem quite appropriate in this particular occasion. Now, the idea of this is I'm not going to build it exactly as you see it. I will be 3D printing varying parts like the doors, the windows, the skylights, the vents, and all sorts of bits and bobs, just to upgrade the building a little bit more and make it my own, if you like. But not only that, this particular building is 137 millimeters from there to there, and likewise from there to there. So you obviously get two different side walls, obviously one with doors, one with windows, and you can interchange them as you want. So this side here could go down here should you want it to do that. You know, so there's lots of scope and variation that you can use for all of this. So I will be taking the basic idea and sort of multiplying it by quite a lot, because I want this to be a statement piece on the end of the build, on the end of the layout. Now, this does look like a complex build, I'm not going to lie, but as I said, I'll be putting my own twist on things. So there are varying, you obviously get different floors that you can put in. I'd quite like to be able to fit out the floors, to be honest with you, with some kind of industry. I don't know at the moment. If you've got any ideas about what you'd think you'd like to see in there, please do say. Otherwise, I'll just rack it as a general warehouse with racking and boxes and forklifts, that type of thing. But yeah, you can get the idea. It's not the simplest of builds, but when you look at a kit like this, you look at it and think, oh, that's complicated. But you know, I suppose when you go into it and break it down, it actually becomes a lot more sense, if you like. You see, there's the cooling, well, I think they're cooling tower. I don't know what they are, to be honest with you. Does it say? But whatever it is, I can 3D print that and, you know, make it look a little bit more realistic, and just use the papers. So you can see it's quite involved. Right, so let's go on to the actual thing itself. So you can see there you're getting different types of side walls. Obviously some filler wall there. And to be honest with you, it's all the wall detail that just makes it a little bit more appealing. You get a floor in there, and they're obviously columns with the inside walls. That looks like a wooden floor. So there's plenty there to be having a go at. So there's just absolutely tons, isn't there? Right, so first up on this build then is to print off this rather large instruction booklet, as you can see there. And then my next stage was to go into the actual print files, if you like, the textures, and find the templates. Okay, now this is where I've got so far, and you can see it's already got damaged. There's some has been spilt all over it, but I'll be honest, I'm not ever so happy about that. I started to cut them out with a scalpel, and it just took forever, even just those 24 windows that you can see there. And I think it might be better if I make them in slightly smaller sections and see if I can use the Cricut machine to do this, because it's just going to be very, very painstaking. I mean, the building that I'm planning on building is going to be absolutely huge. I mean, you've seen the flats on Making Tracks and how big they are, and we're probably not looking too dissimilar in size, to be honest. And as I said before, I want this to be a statement piece, so I don't want it to be poor, I want it to be high quality. So I'm going to leave it for a short time and focus on something a little bit different, and then come back to it maybe in a couple of weeks, 2-3 weeks. We'll see how it goes. Well, there we go. As you see, the new full length to me Azuma train going through now. And please bear in mind that the coaches have only just been started. They're nowhere close to finishing. I bring you over to this area here, which you haven't yet seen. Now, this area is completely removable, and I wanted that because obviously I need to get to the middle of the river to be able to do the resin pour, and a couple of inches even in the middle there is going to be quite valuable, to be honest. So anyway, what have I done then? Well, obviously, as you can see, this area has now been scenic up, and this, I would say, is one of the first areas to be completed. I mean, even the bridges are not yet finished because I need to put double yellow lines on the bridge and also railings in varying places all along. Yes, there's a typical bus on the top. I like it. Anyway, so you can see that is all now been foliaged up, and I did use the rubberized horsehair for some of it, and actually I quite like it. And I think with some coarse foliage and some fine foliage as well, sea foam here and lots of different things, and you've got some not algae, but lichen algae. What am I like? But anyway, different things, and there's some long grass over there by the tunnel entrance, all that sort of stuff. So there's lots and lots different varying things going on here. But also you've got this 3D printed wall. Now, obviously this goes over the top of the settee, and I wanted something to be substantial here because any thin wall, even a millimetre or two thick, wouldn't look quite right. So let's have a look round the other side. There you go. So you can see it's very, very similar to the viaduct in very similar styling. I'll just show you that. So hopefully you can see the difference. I mean, you've got this double arch thing going on here, and all the, I think they're corbels, I'm not sure, but it's a very similar sort of design, and the string running along the top there. I've decided not to put the string halfway down, as you can see there, just to make it a little bit different. But that really does, well, I think, make such a difference to this area. And you can see now it's not going to be the rounded edges that first appeared to be. There you go, as Caroline just goes around that area, and there's the 800 running through there again. Now, just take you over to this area. I did mention earlier in the video that I was putting on these cardboard sides, but you can now see I've put foam down the edge. Now, why have I done that? Well, the idea would be that it's trying to soundproof it. And if I put that on the top, I'll be honest, I'm not sure it makes a lot of difference, to be honest. Let's put it there. I think it does a bit, but when the building's on the top, I think it might make much more of a difference. But having said that, you'll still hear the trains coming around this side here, and obviously when they come around this part here as well. So, you know, it's not going to make a massive difference, but if it just tones it down just a tiny little bit, that's got to be worthwhile, hasn't it? Now, I think if I just bring you back, and yes, that part of the board has just been temporarily removed, just whilst I'm starting to think about the resin pour, but I've just heard the weather forecast for this week again, and we're going to start getting a little bit more cold, so I'm not sure it's going to go just yet. It might have to wait till half term, but we'll see. But there we are. That's about as far as we've got. So what have I done then? Well, I've put the extra coach in, well, 2 extra coaches into the Azuma, and replaced the windows in one, which you can't really tell at the moment. I mean, I'm not sure which coach it is. Don't ask, I don't know. But I've also then done this area here, and also done the trials coming up the ramp with the Azuma, and the oiled wheels did make a massive difference. Okay, I think I'm going to leave the video there. I hope you've enjoyed it, this little marathon of different things, and I'll leave you with a sight of the Azuma just going round into the other side of this area. You take care of yourself, and I'll see you again very, very soon here on Piccadilly Eastway. Bye for now.